Good afternoon. This is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, coming to you on Sunday. It's just afternoon. I had planned to do this earlier, but a lot of other things got in the way, of course. So that was my plan. But here I am just after midday. So I hope everybody has had a good week. And thank you for all of you who have sent me messages regarding my book got published. I wrote a chapter in a book called Transformational Triumphs, and it was launched on the 12th of this month, and it actually became an Amazon #1 bestseller in England, United States, and Canada. So I reached that status. So if you're still interested in purchasing the book, you can go to my website, which is eastcoastdragonlady.com, and you can go to the pre-order. I haven't yet received the books. I'm told to expect them anytime between the 22nd and January 5th. So I'm thinking it'll be the new year, especially with all the holiday stuff. So I just wanted to give you that quick update and thank you. And thank you again for everybody who has watched my videos. I'm again up in the hundreds. One day I hope I'm going to look back on this and say, I remember when I had 100 or 200 or 300 viewers, and there that is in the thousands. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And again, please, if you feel that this is for other people, please share it freely. I only bring to you each week what I get. So hopefully it's reaching everybody that needs it. So thank you again. And I'm always grateful, which reminds me that, as you know, I often talk about grounding and I talk about my channeling. I realized these past couple of weeks that I've been so busy with other things that I had not been consistent with my grounding. And guess what I discovered? I discovered that when I'm not grounded, I have been experiencing when I've been in, I say, a crowded room with more than one or two people. If I have to go to in-person meetings, there's more than a few people. I have been, at the end of the day, I am completely drained. You know, it's like I can't even get the energy up, to walk up the stairs. And I kept thinking, what's going on? And it was the dragons, of course, that said, well, you're not doing your rituals, you're not grounding yourself, and therefore you're more open to so it feels like my energy is like being depleted. So I'm being sucked dry of energy because people see us. Here we come with this bright light and everybody wants it. They don't always know that that's what they're doing. So as I often say, I'm really good at giving advice. I need to take my own advice. So I have started again grounding every morning before I lay. I mean, it's a couple of minutes. I don't even know why I stopped doing it. Probably because I thought, I don't need to do that. I'm fine. I'm protected by the dragons or whatever, but I need to be grounded. And I think people that are not grounded often are too much out there or they're too much in their heads. So if it's just a reminder for you, because I find when I do talk about it, especially people that have been working in energy, sometimes that's the one thing that we forget to do. We forget that we need to be grounded and protected. So, and the other thing that happened this week that I just found out about, which I think also had something to do with it, that there were solar flares or a solar flare from the sun. If you caught the news clips, it was a rather large one. And of course, that affects a lot of people, and it's been the last 3 or 4 days, and when I looked it up, solar flare was about 3-4 days ago. So let me tell you about solar flares if you don't know. Some of you may, some of you be like me. I sort of know when people say, oh, there were solar flares, everybody was off. But solar flares effect on the body it's when there are so solar flares affect our body anytime space weather comes from the sun, but it will not harm us as long as we are on the planet. It impacts, it can impact, and it did impact GPS communication at least 3 days ago. We ourselves may feel disconnected, tired, imbalanced or out of balance, and emotionally more vulnerable, so crying a lot more. So I think that's worth taking into consideration that, and as I said last week, not knowing this, that it was going to be an intense week. So there was solar flares, there was a portal 1212, which was, I think, intense this year. It's the last portal opening this year. And I think until the 21st, which is what I'm feeling, which will be the winter solstice, we're going to feel this imbalance. It's a good time, as it's the end of the year, to start thinking about what we want and put out there. And certainly during the winter solstice is a good time to actually set those intentions. So that is the 21st, so that's next Thursday. I know that because I'm actually joining a winter solstice ceremony. I have been posting about that on Facebook. I also had my dragon hour this week with Dina, Soli Dina. So she did some light language for us, and we talked a lot about dragons, of course, and channeled painting. So if you want to catch that, it's up on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel. And thank you, those that have already watched the replay. I did send it out to all of those of you that had signed up, but you can find it on YouTube now. So I actually had to write some of this stuff down so I didn't forget, because I often get to the end and listen to this again and I realised I forgot stuff. So Dragon Hour, I talked about Dragon Hour. So next month is going to be, again, a friend of mine, Ryan, who is a Dragon Reiki teacher of Dragon Empowerment Reiki, which I have taken the first level. So we'll be talking a lot about dragons, a lot about Reiki. So if you're interested in that, go to my website and sign up. I will send out a Zoom link the day before. I know I've had some people ask, like, I didn't get a link. I only send that out the day before, because that way then I know who's coming. And you will get a recording of that afterwards. So I'm excited about that. This has been a long time coming to get Ryan to come and sit down and talk to us. So I'm excited that he's my first guest in January. And that will be on a Friday. I think it's Friday, the 12th of January. He can't do Thursday. But it'd be a good shoot us into the weekend. As I said, my book that I had a chapter in reached Amazon #1. So woohoo, all of us. I don't yet have those books, but as soon as they're in, I'll be shipping them out to those of you that have ordered. If you want to order before I get the shipment, I'm still going to ship them to you, which will be no cost to you if you're in the United States. If you're outside the United States, it's $15 for international shipping. So, oh yes, and then next year. So again, Dina and I have been collaborating. I've taken some of her classes, and in January, for the first 4 months, so January through April, we are going to be offering a monthly class where we're going to be doing some channeling. We're going to be doing painting for you to participate if you want to, either scribble, draw, paint, whatever you want to do. Learn how to read your paintings, because as I've just encountered, and I've talked about this before, I've started doing channeled paintings. So I actually have a channeled painting that we'll talk about. Learn how to read that if you don't already know how to do that. And some attunements. We're going to be working with the Inner Earth people, the Agarthians. So the Galactics will be there. And Dina and I have connections. So that's where we've connected in past lives as Agarthians. So a lot of really good energy, high vibrational energy for the beginning of the year. The class will be for an hour and a half. It's actually $44 a class, or if you buy all four, I think it's for $156. We're giving you a discount if you pay for all four up front. But you're welcome to pay us monthly. I always know the beginning of the year, that's always difficult for people. But again, a lot of good things, I think, coming in the new year. New classes, new energy. So I'm excited about that. I actually took Diana Cooper's, as you can tell, you see my throat is back again, which, as I've said, I'm working on. And I'm certainly going to be working on the 21st. That's something that I need to clear more, because it's this, for me, it's not being able to speak my truth. And oftentimes when I'm doing things like this, I know it's like something comes and like prevents me. So I need to do some more work on that. I certainly need to work with my fire dragons. That's what I'm hearing. They're telling my fire dragons need to help me work on that. I also took a power hour class with Diana Cooper and Tim Wilde, which was awesome. It was the energy of Helios as an upgrade. And I have been working with the Grand Central Sun and the Violet Flame, which periodically come in, or they're with me all the time. So this was a really good, for me, it was what I needed. It upgraded it was an upgrade in energy shift. So you can catch Diana Cooper. You can find her on Facebook or on YouTube. And the classes are never expensive. They're in English pounds, but they're never expensive. So on to this week. This week, the card I pulled for us, I think is a good one. I'm going to try and say the name. I took it from the Divine Masters, from Kyle Gray. This is his book. This is his new deck called Divine Masters. And this is Vajrayogi. Yogi. I think that's how you say Vajrayogini, transcending fear. So I love this color here, this orange, because that's the fire that I need for my throat. So as I said, I might pick this for me, but I think it's certainly for everybody. So facing fear leads to fearlessness. Embrace your power. So in here, let me just read you a little bit about this ascended master, this divine master, Vajrayogini, and I apologize for not being able to say this, is a tantric deity acknowledged in both Buddhism and Hinduism, who represents the path of the feminine Buddhahood. Vajra means thunderbolt, and Yogini is a female achieving the state of yoga, which is the union of mind, body, and soul. This Vajini is Dakini, which is the Sanskrit for sky dancer, a powerful supernatural being who is fearless and also at times wrathful in her mission to bring enlightenment to earth. She has actually been described as a semi-wrathful because her presence is sharp and fearless. From a spiritual perspective, she can help us move into a space of awareness and enlightenment. And when she comes to you, she will lead you along the path to knowing yourself better. And since this is a less traveled path, there will be many encounters with your fears along the way. So this message is, you would never know what it is like to be fearless if you hadn't encountered fear. This is the time when you are able to look fear in the eyes and see it for what it is. Fear is just energy, and energy can be changed. This can be an intense experience because the human self is considered to be sacred by the prospect of fear. And so when fear appears, it can send us running, when in fact it's an invitation to arrive. Your fears are appearing now because you are on the verge of a miracle and you have the real opportunity to know yourself better than ever. When you finally face your fears, this will no longer have power over you. When they have left you, though, there's a good chance you may feel energetically drained or empty. This isn't because something is missing, but because your fears have been taking up so much more space. This is an opportunity for you to call love, miracles, and anything else you need into the space. You are learning to use your power and are being given the courage to embrace who you truly are. Freedom is in sight, is within sight. So that's a beautiful card. And as some of you may know that work with the unicorns, that they work with our soul. So I think these two go together again nicely. As I say, I don't choose these, they choose us. So again, these are some beautiful unicorn cards. I've been using again Diana Cooper's Oracle deck of unicorns. So they've always got these beautiful on the back. So we have the Queen of Unicorns, Feather. The calling card for the unicorns tells you they are near. So when you get a feather, that can be angels, that can be anybody. For me, it's interesting, my father came up. So my father passed at least 4 decades ago. So when I was in my 20s. So it's been a long time since my father has been around. I've connected with him in spirit. And then he sort of goes off on his journeys. But he actually got a message to me through my son, who also has channeling gifts, and said that he wanted to tell me something, which was a bit like getting a text saying, call me. And he sounded frantic, like, I need to talk to her. And what he wanted to tell me was that it was his time to be reincarnated. And he wanted to tell me some things which were beautiful. But he was telling me that when he goes back down there, as he calls it, when I go back in, he kept saying, when I go back in, he won't be able to see me. His essence will be there, but he will not be able to see me. And it was sort of a goodbye, but it wasn't, because he's like, I'll still check in with you because you're still going to get those pennies. So for decades, we get a lot, not just 1 or 2, a lot of pennies around. My son gets them, I get them in my washing machine. So I know he was trying to get my attention, but I didn't think he had a message for me. I may share that on my Facebook page. It was a beautiful message. And it's my belief that we do come back when we're ready. So he's spent probably almost 50 years not being reincarnated, but he said now is the time, and that I'm doing fine, and that he can leave me now. So I thought that was beautiful message from him. So Mother Mary is another unicorn card. Soul Satisfaction. Archangel Gabriel, again, one of my favorite archangels. And Closeness. So there's 6 cards for this week. And as usual, I will have a channeled message from my the dragons that are working with me right now. Are the ones that are helping me channel these messages for many reasons that will be revealed next year, but also to share with you. They wanted me to use oracle decks to actually get me to connect with that energy, and to then bring that channeled message from, sometimes it's the unicorns, sometimes it's the dragons, sometimes it's some other energy. Most of the time they are a collective calling themselves the guardians of the solar energy system. It's a mouthful, but that's who they are. So they're a group of dragons, and then certain dragons step forward with the message, or a group of them, and then they always give me that. So I'm picking up some interesting channeled messages from them. They're very heart-centered. So I think they are definitely, it's good for me because it's keeping that muscle working, because when you channel, you need to keep it open. And going back to my father, I've also been told that if I wanted to, I could channel those that have passed over, loved ones that have passed over, but that isn't what I'm supposed to be channeling. So it's interesting when I channel somebody like my dad, because he was obviously British, and he still has the old English way of speaking. So Merlin's also saying, well, so do I. My dad wasn't quite as old as Merlin, but Merlin definitely speaks in the old English. So again, I'm finding that when I'm doing these, when I'm actually recording myself, often Merlin pops up and a few dragons pop in because they want to know what I'm talking about or who am I talking to, because technology is new to Merlin. He's scratching his head. He's like, I don't know what this is. So I think that's the message for the week, is to overcome fear. And I've also had a lot of messages in the past about overcoming fear, because there's, as Merlin said, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And remember, it's energy and we can change it. So have a fabulous week. It's almost Christmas. So again, be aware of those people that don't have families, those people that don't celebrate Christmas. Just also be kind to everybody. I do my best. I'm human, but most days I do the best I can. And from my heart to yours, I send you love for a good week.